Tuesday. We have arrived. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Super excited to be here today. And put your seatbelt on because, as usual, we have one heck of a powerful woman. And this is our international woman today. She is a killer businesswoman and has started a project to help other women with the next stage of their lives and the projects they want to do. And I just can't wait, not only for you to hear from her, but for me to learn from her as well. This is going to be really fun. So with no further ado, our guest today is Melissa Lamson, and I'm going to ask her to start off. And first, I don't want to embarrass you, but you have one amazing professional career. Could you tell us a little bit about your background before we dive into your project, please?
Yes, of course, I'm happy to. Thank you so much. Such an honor to be here and love what you're doing with the Facebook group. It's so wonderful that we get the chance to give back to each other as women. And I do have a long career just by the fact that I'm a bit older now, but yeah, it's been fun. So I started my career in the art world, and then I actually decided that social impact was an important way to go for me. And so I was looking at, how do I do that? Do I do that from the nonprofit or the for-profit worlds? And did some research and found that there was something called intercultural communication. And I was really excited to understand what that is. And so it's really understanding how diverse cultures communicate and how they then might do business together. And so I studied that. So I went and did a master's in intercultural relations, and I specialized in diversity management. And back in the mid 90s, kind of diversity was really just starting to get hot. And we were doing a lot in the area of anti-discrimination, but also in anti-sexual harassment and so forth. And got the opportunity to mentor with one of the best in the business in Boston. And did that for 3 years, working with corporate clients. And that was sort of my first taste of real corporate clients, really big corporations. So United Airlines, State Street Global Advisors, at the time Gillette. And then I personally went to a barbecue kind of randomly, which happened to be a bunch of Europeans, mostly Germans. And one of them invited me on a motorcycle trip across country for 6 weeks. And I said, okay, but great, what's your name? Because we hadn't even exchanged names yet. And so, of course, I was just like, there's no way I'm ever going to get an offer like that again. I must do this. So I ended up doing the trip. I moved to Berlin to be with him. He was starting a new job there after completing his MBA at Harvard. And then I started working in the field of intercultural communication and helping leaders do business globally. And then after 5 years of being in Germany, I started another company called Diversity Works, which was all about really big, large scale diversity and inclusion initiatives in Europe and particularly in Germany. And spent a total of 10 years there. And then when I met, I have a habit of doing this. And then when I met my American husband on a project in the US, in the Bay Area, we dated for 2 years, long distance between Frankfurt and San Francisco. So anybody who has a long distance relationship, you want to ask me about that, I am very happy to share. At the time, Skype was brand new. So luckily we had the opportunity to converse and be on video. And as we know, it works, right? We can build relationships over video these days. And so he said, but he eventually said, look, we kind of have to hang out in person if we're going to have a real relationship. So I made the decision to move to the Bay Area, sold my diversity and inclusion business to my business partner in Europe. And then I moved to the Bay Area and started my global leadership business. Quickly realized that nobody cared so much about my global experience in the US, which is unfortunate because I had the opportunity to work on projects in over 40 countries. And I was really proud of all that global experience, and still am, but it became about management and leadership development for a lot of high tech companies, always bringing kind of global and diversity in through the back door on that. And that's been what I've been doing for the last 10 years. But we also then relocated to Arizona, so based in Phoenix now, because my stepson went to ASU and we're weird helicopter parents and followed him. So, but also
that's like 3 lifetimes for both.
I know.
You're in Europe, and then you go husband over here, and then you run 2 companies, and you didn't mention that you've written 6 books, I think. in your spare
Yeah.
time. Is that correct?
Yeah. In my spare time, I've written books. Yes, yes, yes.
So pick like two of your favorite books or something. Your books are available on Amazon, I think, correct?
They are. They are. The
What are
latest
your
book.
favorite of your books? Just give us a little taste of that too, because that's not even what we're here to talk about. And I'm clear we could hang out for like a couple hours and talk to
Yes.
you, no doubt.
Yes. I guess the one that's relevant is hashtag Women Advance. So it's actually a series of tweets about what women can do to advance their own careers. And then the second one, the one that's actually most recent, is called The New Global Manager: Learning to Manage in a Complex Business Environment. So that can also be relevant for those of you who lead and manage globally.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
Now, because you had nothing else to do,
Right.
you have started a project and it is incredible. And it is Women 50 Plus Ready to Launch. Please, what is your inspiration for that? What are you trying to accomplish with that? Would you share with everybody? Because I think it's amazing. Of course, you know, you and I are both like 35, but whatever. Just
Right, right. Well, you look 35 for sure, but
oh, God bless you. You do too. But let's talk about your project.
yeah. So yeah, so it was funny because I traveled 100% of the time before the pandemic. All of a sudden, I found myself with like 30% of my time back. Right, I'm not on planes, trains, running through airports, etc. And so I went with a friend away last summer because we've both been tested for COVID and we're obviously negative. And we decided, hey, let's get out of the heat because it's, if you don't know Phoenix, it's a blazing inferno in the summer. And so we got out of here and we went to Sedona and we hiked and we hung out. And all of a sudden we started talking. What are the best things that you like about your business? Same thing with you. My business partner, Kimberly Miles, just for those of you who would like to know, she's also has a couple of businesses in addition to what we call Recreate Now, which is the name of the official name of the company. We informally kind of just call it Recreate. And we talked about what are women over 50 doing, both of us being over 50 now, and what is sort of missing for us or what do we need? And we thought about, wow, you know, there's so much potential there and there's so much that could be leveraged out of this particular target group. So women over 50 are what do we know? They're overqualified for their jobs. They have some time now because they're not just running around doing everything for everyone else. They're not necessarily in that grind of, you know, just trying to make money and climb the corporate ladder, but they're really thinking, what kind of a purpose or meaning do I want in my life? What kind of social impact might I even make? And so when we thought, what about a mastermind incubator accelerator for that group? Because there's really nothing like that on the market for women over 50. And so on the macro level, my big dreams are, you know, how do we really create the old girls network? And I don't mean by age, but I mean in terms of just competing with the old boys network, right? So that we really dig into a way of being able to support each other, to be able to help each other access resources, whether it's money or knowledge, right? Or just even support. And then also with the Recreate Action Tank, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, is, you know, how do we create economic viability in local communities where we're really helping a set group of women build charities, nonprofits, and businesses that can really give back to the communities that they're operating in or living in. And so that was essentially the idea. So just what can we provide for women over 50 to really help them think about, what do I do for the next half of my life?
It's just so awesome because, you know, you and I had talked previously and you know, we were talking about the 30s and the 40s and you get to this point, you know, like I'm in my 50s now and I'm like, okay, I love my career, but I can do my career in my sleep and my kids, you know, like I still spend time with him and everything, but it's not like he's young and I got to dote all over him every 50 seconds. And you do get to a point where you're like, okay, now what? You know, so we're all in the now what phase. So I love that you're in here. Now you have started this awesome project, and I love the Old Girls Network because I've seen the Old Boys Network, and I don't like it all that much. But one of the things I think would be valuable before we talk about the different ways people can learn with you is who this applies to. You know, so if somebody's watching this and they're trying to start a business, or they want to start a nonprofit, they're not even looking to do something for financial reasons, or maybe they want to write a book, or they've always had a dream of fill in the blank. Like, who will benefit from what you're doing? Are there certain categories?
Yeah, I mean, so this is the first time we're running this. And we decided we would open it up to everyone. And we have really found a way. Both of us have spent, you know, over 20 years developing workshops and masterminds and coaching programs. So we certainly have a lot of experience accommodating different needs and styles and where people are. And so we decided let's let everybody in who wants to come in. So we do have someone coming in. She wants to keep her job, but she wants to write a book. We have another person who wants to launch a podcast. We have another one who wants to set up a consultancy to eradicate poverty. We have another one who wants to come in and do a side hustle to her really hardcore corporate job, and build a business, an online business. And so it's all across the board, projects and businesses, charities, etc. And we're, Kim and I are really the facilitators of this. So what we're doing is we're bringing in experts to come in and teach workshops in terms of ideation, envisioning, building the plan, whatever the plan is, and then marketing and branding. And, as you know, Leanne, it's often the same. I mean, if you're writing a book, you still have to figure out, how do I market it? How do I brand it? How do I monetize it? What are the product streams and all of that? So it's the same as if I start a company, right? And I'm looking at products. So a lot of those skills and tools are going to be needed by everyone, but then we're also going to do concurrent kind of workshops. So if someone's really focused on charities, they can listen to one speaker where there's others who are really focused on building a business, and they'll be able to work with another one.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's awesome. And now you have two different resources people can go to. There's like one that you have on Facebook, and then there is the more intense action tank. Would you take a second and tell people what those two different things are and how they both work?
Yeah, so Kim and I also wanted to start a free community, right, where people could join to talk about what they're building, what they're dreaming about, get inspiration, learn tools and tricks. We've run a free incubator event for 3 days. We're going to run another one next month. Oops, I probably wasn't supposed to say that yet, but but we are. And then we're also doing some sessions on Clubhouse. But it's the Facebook group is Women 50 plus. So actually the number plus. Ready to launch. And so if you want to join us there, we're very happy to have women 50 plus ready to launch who want to talk about all that. And then for those who really want to go to the next level and build something within 9 months and launch it, and they really want the resources and the tools and the connections to do so. Also the access to capital and the access to venture capitalists and so forth, because we really that's a special piece we have there too. That is the Recreate Action Tank. And that's what's going to start in June. And we have 4 live events within 9 months. And then you also work in between in something called Creation Pods, which is like a Vistage model where the whole group will be together for the big live workshops. But then in between, you'll decide how you want to meet with your pod, which is 4 or 5 women. And we're going to curate those so that you're really able to leverage different experience and expertise in those groups. So if someone has a finance background, they can help the others. Someone has a legal background, they can help the others. So it's tactical, but also I think it's primarily the accountability piece, because most women know how to do this. They know what they're doing. They know how to get the information, but it's about having someone go, did you do what you say you're going to do? Are you ready for the next workshop coming up in August? And so we'll facilitate those as much as the groups want us to, just to make sure that they aren't just chat sessions, but they're really productive.
So it's interesting because the Facebook piece that's a free piece that anybody can jump in there. And that's more of a community, but it sounds like, if I'm saying this correctly, that the Action Tank is more of a coaching program. Is that kind of mentoring program, coaching program?
That's right. We call it a mastermind coaching program, but incubator accelerator, and the reason why we actually coined the term Action Tank was because it's not just a mastermind where you're talking about stuff. It's not just a coaching program where you might be learning some new skills. It's really all in one, because we really want to provide all the tools and connections for women to really build something and launch it. And we want to remove all the overwhelm, all the obstacles, any of whether it's mindset or reality, from women's lives, so that they're able to just get this done. And so we've just committed to holding people's hand through the whole process. If they need it, if they don't need it, and they're happy with the workshops and the creation pods, that's also great. Yeah.
It's amazing though, because, God bless you for this. It's so true. Like, people have an idea. I was actually talking to a really close friend of mine, and she has this dream to start a nonprofit, but it looks like Mount Everest to her. Like, where do I start?
Right.
It's just, she's in her 50s also, and a lot of times people get there. And even if they know the components, the concept of doing it alone, being an entrepreneur alone, a nonprofit alone, an author alone, anything alone is tough when you're breaking into something you haven't done. So it
Yeah,
sounds like you will provide the support through the process, but also it seems like you're providing tools. You
absolutely.
mentioned financing. What are some other things that they can learn in there, if you don't mind giving a little bit of it away?
Oh, yeah, no, no, for sure. Absolutely happy to. So the first session's concentrated on visioning
Mhm.
and ideating and creative thinking. And so some women are coming in with actually an established business that they want to expand, right? And then others are coming in with an idea that they're not sure if they can turn it into a business. So we want to accommodate that, or a nonprofit or charity or project. And so we want to accommodate all of that. So that'll be the first session. And then as well as just a lot of bonding and introductions and connections to the other great women in the group. So there's also, and one of the things Kim and I talked about too is this element of fun, and that especially of course during a pandemic, but also just women over 50, we sometimes forget to have fun. And the
Yeah.
extent of it is maybe we do one fabulous trip a year, or maybe we go out, for happy hours with friends, and that's certainly fun. But we wanted to make sure that not only did we have the workshop day, but the evenings were really inspiring to spark that creativity, break down inhibitions, spark innovation. And so we're going to hold them in really cool venues around here in Phoenix. So we're renting out an art space and this cool like downtown factory. And so the environments will be really conducive to thinking creatively, thinking outside the box. And then we want to also just have all kinds of fun things happening in the evening. So it'll be day long during the workshop, but then the evening will also just be a lot of fun and performance based and experience based, as well as just eating and drinking fun stuff too.
All the fun
And then,
stuff.
yeah. And then the second meeting will be in August, and that's on building your business plan. And I don't know if you know Courtney Klein, but she founded Seed Spot. It's a national organization now. And she's going to come in and really talk about how do you build a plan for anything, whether it's a business, charity, again, project. So that'll be the primary focus of the second day. Then the third day, which will be in November, that's focused on getting access to capital and monetizing and selling. And so it depends on where people are. We actually have Golden Seeds as a partner. So they're an organization out of New York, but they have a fairly new chapter in Phoenix. And they're the only VC fund that supports women-owned projects and businesses. And so
Nice.
they're going to come in and teach a class on how to get access to money. And this is the most amazing thing, Leanne, is that there's so much money out there and women just have no idea like how to get it, where it is, that it's actually not that difficult, right? To once you know how and where. And so really excited to help educate women on that point so that they can get funding for projects.
Yeah,
Huge.
that's huge.
And then just, of course, knowing how to sell and how to position. We have an expert actually who's going to come in and talk about branding and doing PR around social impact projects too specifically. So what's kind of the difference there? And then the last one is launch. And so that's everything you need to go to market. So social media, your marketing strategy, your sales strategy, expansion strategy, all that. And in the evening, we're doing what we're calling our pitch competition. And I say that in quotes because it's really more of a presentation of what they've been working on for the 9 months to our dolphin tank, right? Not Sharky, but
I like
intelligent
that. I like that.
women. Yeah. So our dolphin tank, who will be there, who are women who have secured millions, multi-millions of dollars in capital, we have one woman who owned 4,000 franchises globally. We have another woman who's building her third online business. I mean, yeah, 4,000. So it's an incredible elite group of women who we just reached out to and said, hey, would you be willing to be on this panel? And so they can be there selfishly, it's also good for them because they'd love to invest in new businesses and new charities and new projects. So they're going to see a whole bunch right there at their fingertips to invest in, to become potential partners in, but also just to act as mentors and to say, hey, that's a really great idea. And this is what you might want to consider, or this is what might need to be tweaked. And so it's just a great opportunity for the women who are involved in the project. Yeah.
And the entire program is 9 months, you said?
9 months. Yes.
It's like giving birth, I had to make that
Well,
joke.
that's kind of the metaphor we liked. Yeah, we like that. Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So, there's a Facebook group, there's the Action Tank 9-month program. And,
Yes.
and you clearly, you've run businesses, written books, you've done all these things. Like, where would you love to see this go? Do
Yeah,
you anticipate
good
this is
question.
something you want to do every year and 5 years from now? Like, what do you have any dreams that you want to share with us about the growth of all of this?
Yes. So our dream is to do, I mean, if we could run, many every year would be our goal. We would like to, for sure, we're going to do one a year in Phoenix, maybe two a year if we can grow that much. In locally, but we are already in partnerships talking with France, with Paris. We're talking to Germany. We're going to do one in Berlin, Copenhagen in Denmark, and also Canada. And so there's a licensing model that we're working on now. And then there's also the opportunity for Kim and I just to come in and run it for you. But we also need local partners because the value of this too is to get local entrepreneurs who have been successful to be on the local dolphin tank, and also obviously to be able to market to the women locally to get them into the Recreate Action Tank. But so far, everyone's just been super excited. I mean, just as a little bit of a sidebar, if we still have a minute.
Oh no, we're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the things that's happening in France and Germany is divorce rates, sadly, are getting higher, and particularly at women in middle age. And so what's happening is they're getting out of these marriages, and they're like, "Wow, now what?" And so actually, the government is starting to think about, particularly in Paris or in France, thinking about, how do we support women who are in their second half of life, who have all this opportunity.
Really?
And while a lot of the corporations are actually trying to get more youth in Europe, trying to get more youth into the organizations and actually giving severance packages to people middle age and up, the government is saying, well, there's all this opportunity we could leverage. And so they've actually talked to us about how can we partner on this, because we don't necessarily have the program or the action tank idea, but we certainly have the money that could potentially fund something like this. So anyway, we're really excited about international expansion, but it would be a dream just to run multiple action tanks in the US too at this point. So truthfully, if there are people out there who are interested in licensing or partnering with us, we're talking to people about that now.
That's wild. So you're going to be a crashing the old boys network,
The revolution.
international franchising entrepreneur for women.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Honestly, it's a revolution. If we could get women over 50 across the United States, happy, productive, building, it helps them. It helps the economy, right? It helps the world because, and we actually have a tagline. We say creating a better life, creating a better world. And it's not just, kitschy for us to say that, right? Creating a better life, creating a better world. It's actually, I think it's literally true, because whenever you talk to women about doing stuff, we care. We want to make a difference in people's lives. And so all of the projects that we've got so far enrolled in the action tank, and we're enrolling right now pretty quickly to fill up for June. All the projects have some element of care about the world, about people, about just the impact generally. So
Yeah, it's
really
amazing. If you don't mind sharing what we had talked about the other day, you had broken down like 30s, 40s, 50s. I thought that was kind of cool. Would you mind,
Oh, sure, yeah, sure. So, as women in our 30s, we've got all this neuroses around trying to find our partner, try to set up our families. Like, oh my gosh, am I going to get married? Am I going to have kids? Is this going to work out for me? And then also kind of trying to build our career, but mostly it's just like being employed and, being able to survive. And then 40s, you're like, okay, now I'm kind of more established in my career. This is really my hardcore money making years. I'm having my babies, or I've had them, I've got my partnership settled, but I'm really working hard in like all areas of my life. And then by the time I'm 50, it's like, okay, my kids don't need me quite as much. I'm either settled in my partnership or it's been dissolved or resolved in some way. And then my job, I'm kind of like, like you said in the beginning, Lan, I can do it in my sleep, or I'm overqualified for it, or there's not really any place for me to go left in this particular organization. So I have time and energy for either side hustles or to step out and create an exit strategy into something else. And so that's really why we chose that target group, because it's the opportune time.
And it's so true, because being in my 50s, every female I am friends with in their 50s is in the exact same thing that you described.
Exactly.
I even had my son late, and I'm still there because I'm like, okay. I mean, that's honestly why I started this, because I just thought, wow, I've been blessed. I've met some unbelievable women in my career, and I've had the opportunity to travel internationally and stuff. No motorcycle rides or anything half as daring, as exciting as you. Kind of boring. I jumped on a plane. I went and I spoke somewhere. I jumped on a plane. I came back. But I've met some really neat women, and I thought, oh, how cool if we could all, learn from each other. But it's so fascinating what you're doing, because it's got a really specific agenda to help somebody create this next thing in their life. And as opposed to, I just like, hey, I think I'll do this. It's really building something wild to have a program to help them and to take away the fear and to give them the tools is just remarkable.
Yeah. Thanks. Really excited. There's one more little piece to it too. We've started a Recreate Fund. And the fund is a little portion of the membership fees to attend the Action Tank. And what we're going to do is at the end, when the dolphin tank, or the dolphin panel, if you will, sees the presentations and they agree which woman's project makes the biggest impact on the world for good, they will win the monies out of the Recreate Fund. And so I say that win because it's really an honorarium. I mean, it may be 10,000, it may be 50,000, and depending, we also have a couple of people who want to donate some money to it. But we just thought that's a really nice, we liked it symbolically about recycling capital back into our members in terms of an additional way to support each other. And also just to be able to have a little pot of money to say, okay, great, I can throw this at, my startup costs for branding or marketing or whatever I need it for. So it's, we were just excited about that element too.
Yeah, that's really a great way to do it. And then everybody, I love that. That's so exciting. And it's fun because, what you're doing is something I've never heard of. I'm sure that's why you started it. I don't know of anything like that, targeting specifically women with that ambition and that age genre. It's just amazing what you're cooking up here. And I can't wait. And I'm hoping that after you run the program, we can invite you back and maybe you can have some success stories come with you. And oh, that would be absolutely remarkable. And it's fun too, because last week I wanted to connect the two of you back to back, because we were kind of on a little series of being an entrepreneur and doing different things. And last week we had brought in a lawyer who talked about whether you should incorporate and what kind of documents you need and all that as well. So that's kind of the groundwork so that some people would understand what they need to do to get started. But if they've got a big dream, it seems like you're the place to go. So that would be a really nice way for them to jump in. So just so you guys all know, I just jumped into the Facebook group. It's pretty neat. It's exciting. So it's a good, fun place to explore. And if they're interested in your Action Tank program, they can contact you because you've joined our community in here. So you're accessible, I believe, correct?
Yeah, sure. That'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I'll do, it's recreatenow.org, and our contact information is there too.
Okay, perfect. So I'll kind of tag all that stuff under this video. And then that way, if they want to reach you, maybe we can put a little post with the group. They can shoot over into the group. They can talk to you about the action thing. And thank you. Thank you not only for being here today, but for what you're doing. It is so exciting. And I really mean it. I want you to come back when the program's done, please, and bring some people with you so they can share what happened. I think that would be so inspiring for everybody. It's really exciting. We brought all these women in who are making a difference, whether they're working in the community or doing something professionally that's outstanding. We've had an Emmy award-winning newscaster in here. We've had all these different people, but what's interesting is you're creating that for other women. And I love that, that's just awesome. So thank you for being here.
Yeah, pleasure.
And,
thank you so much for the
unfortunately, every time I blink, the half an hour goes by, which I but we're going to follow up with you. Please stay in here, and all of you can contact her. Just an amazing woman. And next time I go to Europe, I'll see if my husband will go on a motorcycle ride with me, and we'll see what we can do about that. But thank you, Melissa, very much. And all of you, we will be back next week. And next week we will feature our monthly charity. And I'm really excited to share that with you. I think it's something really special, especially if you have a heart for kids. You'll be really touched by next Tuesday. So with that, Melissa, you're awesome. And we'll see you all next week. And I hope we can all learn from her, and let's jump into her community too. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.